Welcome to the Center of Ki. My name is Leah. I'm going to be showing you doin exercises, or what is known as Japanese self-massage. I first came across doin when I was learning yoga many years ago, and my teacher would incorporate these exercises into our classes and when we were on retreats as well. They're basically a series of exercises to help stimulate the body to get energy to flow through the meridian body, but also to create and cultivate a deeper sense of connection between mind, body, and breath. I hope you enjoy doing these exercises. They're a great way to incorporate some new and exciting techniques into your yoga practice, and they're very beneficial for your overall health and well-being. I hope you enjoy them, and I look forward to practicing with you. We're going to start our doin practice seated. Now, if you can kneel like I am now, then I invite you to get comfortable here. If you'd rather sit on a chair or stand, then that is an option as well. Hopefully you've found your comfortable sitting position, and we're going to start our practice now. I want you to make fists with your hands, but very loose, light, soft fists, and try and maintain really soft wrist joints. So just have a little go of doing that now. Just letting the fist flop forwards and backwards. Yeah, so the wrist is nice and loose. We're going to take our fists up onto the skull now, and we're just tapping as we breathe in and breathing out. Just waking up the head. Okay, so this is the muscles, the bones, the skull bones, but also stimulating pressure points all over our head and stimulating the brain matter underneath as well. So there's on many different levels that we're applying the stimulation, and the knuckles are just bouncing up and down because the wrists are nice and loose. Now it might take some time to practice having loose wrists, but just see how you go. Nice deep breaths. We're going all over the head. Now you might find a point that's a little bit stiff or a little bit sore, and you can tap on that a little stronger if you like. And we're activating different parts of the body with our pressure points all over the head. Lovely. All right, so we're now going to take our fingertips, and I want you to tap on your forehead now. So tapping, again, just loose joints, the fingers just bouncing gently all over the bone there, the frontal bone. Underneath, we've got the frontal lobe of our brain. We're also relaxing the facial muscles of the forehead as we do this. Lovely. And then we're just going to tap gently down the cheeks here, softening those muscles there. Breathing, releasing as you exhale, and then coming all the way down to the chin and the jawline here. Noticing where you hold tension. You might find your tension is more up around just below the earlobes. Lovely stuff. And I like to add a little tap here, just in this ridge below the bottom lip. Just tapping with one hand, just a few fingers there. As you're breathing, just relax. And then we tap just above the top lip, tapping there. If you've done any EFT tapping techniques, then you might find these points are familiar to you. And then we're just going to tap gently along the bony ridge, along under the eye. So not too strong here, gentle tapping with the fingertips, lightly. Lovely. And then we're going to take that up and over the bony ridge, along the eyebrows here, tapping. Good. And then we're going to tap the fingertips. So imagine a center line down your head, and we're just tapping either side of that center line. This is our bladder meridian, all the way down to the base of the neck and either sides of the neck, the base of the skull, I should say, and either side of the neck. So you can tilt your head forwards here, and we can tap up a bit in towards the skull bone. So tapping upwards a little bit, feeling that stimulation along the occipital ridge at the back there. And you can go out to the sides a little bit if you like, and down either side of the neck, just fingertips tapping. Lovely stuff. All right, and then just letting that go. Let's just pause, take a breath. Feeling that stimulation all over your head, your face, and the back of the neck there. All right, so we're going to work into the shoulders and the neck and the upper back a little bit for this next round of movements, and also into the arms. So we're just going to start with some shoulder rolls. So very simple. Inhale, squeeze the shoulders forwards and up, and as you exhale, take them back and down. Inhale, squeeze up. Exhale, take them back. Inhale to squeeze up. Exhale, take them back. Let's reverse that now. So inhale, squeezing up. Exhale, forwards. Inhale, squeezing up. Exhale, forwards. One more. Breath in and breathing out. Lovely. Let's do a gentle stretch into the neck, just feeling how that feels. So taking a breath in, and as you exhale, let's gently tip the head back. So just feeling into your neck, noticing where there's some tightness. So we're not jolting the head, we're just moving very gently. Breathe into center, looking forwards. And then exhale, gently dropping the chin down towards the chest. And then breathing into center. And exhale, very gently taking the head back, noticing where there's any pinching or tightening. We just want to feel and observe. Start this conversation. Inhale back to center, and then exhale, gently tucking the chin in towards the chest. Lovely. And then coming back to center. So just becoming aware of our neck and the movement that we have. Let's now do a little turn. So take a breath in. And as you exhale, let's turn to one side, the head nice and level, and then use your eyes to look over your shoulder and just see how far you can go, and find a point you can fix your eyes on for a moment. And then breathe in back to center. And exhale, let's turn the head gently to the other side again, just observing whether there's any restrictions within your body right now. And breathe in back to center. Let's do that again. Exhale, head turning to one side. Looking with your eyes. So once your head stops moving, see how much further your eyes can travel. Breathe into center. And then exhale, gently taking it the other way, looking past where your head stops. Lovely. And then breathe in back to center. And we just let that go for a moment. Awesome. So we're going to stretch just gently. We're actually going to squeeze the muscles here. So I want you to take a breath in. And as you exhale now, squeeze the shoulders up. So we're trying to get the shoulders up towards the ears, breathing out through the mouth. Let it go. And then let it drop. Take a breath in again. Feeling the chest expanding. Hold that breath in for a moment. And now exhale through the mouth, squeezing the shoulders up. Long exhale, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. So you're consciously squeezing those muscles really strongly in the shoulders and the neck. And then let it drop. Take another breath in. Let's do one more. Holding that breath in for a moment, feeling the expansion. And now exhale, squeeze up. Squeeze, 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 breathing out, breathing out, breathing out, breathing out till there's nothing left. Squeezing strongly. Good, and then let that go. Lovely. Let's just take a breath. So we've squeezed into those muscles. We're going to turn our head side to side again and just see if there's any slight improvement in our ability to rotate the head to the side. So let's take a breath in. And exhale, head turning, looking over. Oh, maybe noticing there's a little more space. Your eyes can go a little further too. And then breathe in back to center. And exhale, head turning, eyes looking past where your head stops. Lovely. And then breathe in back to center. So that's a great example of yin and yang in action. So we're creating this yang effect of squeezing, 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 squeezing. And then when we release, there's a greater release, that yin effect, that opening effect. And that allows us to twist the head to the side even more. All right, so moving on from here, we're going to work into stimulating our body again with our fists for our doin practice. And we're also going to use our palms for this one as well. So I want you to get your left hand, hold your right elbow, so making a gentle fist with our left hand, again nice and soft, and we're just going to start tapping along this ridge of the shoulder. So that fist is just bouncing, bouncing, bouncing. We're breathing here. So tap, 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 using this hand to support that elbow. You don't have to do that. It's just nice to have a little bit of support when you can. So tap, 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 tap. Feeling those muscles getting a little bit of a pounding there. They're softening up. Good. All right. And then we're going to circle. So with the palm, just circling around the edge of your shoulder here. So these lovely big muscles at the tip of the shoulder. And then we're going to start to rub the upper arm. So rubbing, rubbing, rubbing all over that arm, in and out. You can rotate the arm as well. And then we're going to circle the elbow here. So circling, hand on the elbow. Lovely. And then brushing up and down with the hand on that forearm. And we're creating some friction here, some warmth. So this is a great way to stimulate our triple heater meridian and energy in the body. And then circling at the wrist. So we circle at the joints and we rub along the bones. Okay, and then brushing off those fingers, a little brush with the hand, and then just shaking it out. Let it all be loose and floppy. That's it, the whole arm nice and soft like a cooked spaghetti. All right, and then letting that hand rest in your lap. And just pausing here for a moment. You can take a breath. Let it go. Feeling, again, opening this conversation up between you and your body, feeling how that arm feels in relation to the other side that we haven't actually done yet. So we're going to do that side now. So let's get the other fist, supporting it with our hand at the elbow, and we're tapping, tap, 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 along that ridge there. So some of us have very tight shoulders. There's a lovely couple of gallbladder points along here. That might be a little sore, so just be gentle. Now, just be careful. I would advise against doing this if you are pregnant. We don't want to stimulate gallbladder 20, which is a point that can help with getting the baby out during labor. So if you are pregnant, please maybe be very gentle with yourself along here and avoid this exercise, but all the rest are fine. All right, and then we're circling the shoulder with the palm, rubbing the upper arm in and out with the palm, again, creating that friction between our skin. And then circling the elbow, rubbing the lower arm or the forearm, and then circling at the wrist and then brushing off the fingers. Good. And then giving that a little shake. Let it be nice and loose, really relaxed. Good. And then again, let's rest the hands in the lap and take a breath. We're going to keep moving through the body and starting to stimulate the lungs here. So this is a great exercise to get the lungs active, to stimulate the muscles of the ribs, and also to wake up the upper body. So we're going to take a big breath in. I want you to hold your breath in. We're making fists again, and we're just going to tap the upper chest, holding the breath in. And then let it go. All right. So let's try again. Inhale. Big inhalation, holding the breath in. Now we're tapping the lower ribs. And then let it go. So it's a reason we're holding the breath. We want to expand everything and then stimulate it. And then when we breathe out, we release and relax. So let's do one more. And this time we're going to tap all over the chest, holding the breath in. So big breath in, hold it in, and tap away, all over. And then let it go. Lovely. And just pause again. Take a breath. And release. Feeling that beautiful stimulation at the front of the chest. So we're going to come out of our seated position now. I'm going to take my cushion away. And we're going to start work on the legs. So we've been sitting for a while. So we're going to do the legs because, they might be a little stiff after sitting. And that's not much fun. All right. So let's start with one knee bent, one knee straight. And we're going to use our fists again to create some stimulation along the thigh. All right, so we're just breathing normally as we do this. So stimulating. So this is where we get to stimulate the meridians along the thighs. So here we're working stomach and gallbladder. We can drop the knee open and start to work on spleen and liver lines. And if we go underneath, we're more on the kidney line under there. And then if we lift up and we go under, we're working on the bladder and also the extension of the large intestine and the lungs. Keep breathing. Use those fists. Just let them bounce off you. That's it. Bouncy, bouncy off the thighs or the thigh. We're only doing one at a time. And you can go all over the leg again. Repeat that. Just wherever you feel a little bit of stiffness or tightness or a bit of pain or discomfort, just stimulate that. It's going to help get blood to flow into the muscles. Lovely. And then we can lean to one side and let's just tap into the buttock now. So we hold a lot of tension in our hips and buttocks. So we can stimulate this with our fist. Again, loose fist, loose wrist, just tapping all over. Maybe you can find a little sore point there. Excellent. And then we're going to roll up. So we're going to focus on this buttock. Let's bring both knees up. Use your hands to support you and then roll onto that buttock, the one that we just tapped. And we're just going to rock a little forwards and back, just little rocks so you feel your hip bone, yes, moving. You can do a little circle if you like, just feeling a bit of stimulation in that joint, and then circle the other way if you can, coordinate it. This one can be a little challenging. Lovely. All right, just that rocking motion helps release tension. Then we come to our beautiful lower leg and we're just going to rub up and down, up and down, up and down. You can also, with this lower leg, you can do cupping. So if you can make cups with your hands, we can just cup down the leg, going down, down, down. That's it. Just going in that downwards direction for this one, towards the ankles. Ankle, yeah. Excellent stuff. And then we get to the foot. The foot is a beautiful area and the ankle as well to work on. So we're just going to start with some tapping, again, on the sole of the foot. Ooh, stimulating those points. Now I can feel this strongly in my heel today. There's a few that's feeling a bit tender. So I'm just going to focus on the heel for a little bit. And then going all over the sole of the foot. I'm just going to pull my toes back a bit as I'm working on this foot, just to expose the surface area a little bit more. And again, just really breathe it out. Let the tension go. It's really about just letting go. Feeling the breath coming in, refreshing you, breathing out, releasing the unnecessary tension. Let it go. Lovely. So there's a few things we can do with the foot. If you want, we can make a little fist like this and focus on these knuckles. And we're going to use that. So find the center at the top of the foot and the center of the heel. And we can just rub down with those knuckles down the center of the foot. If you can see that. Downwards, along the arch there. Some people have really sensitive feet. So I don't know if that's you and you're like, oh, I can't do this. That's okay. Do what you can and skip to the next bit if you need to. Lovely. And the next bit is the toes. So again, if you've got very sensitive feet, this one might be a bit of a challenge for you. Okay. So we're going to start with our big toe. And I want you to grab your big toe here. And we're going to do circles with the toe. So squeezing the toe and then making circles. So your toe is going round and round and round. And you can give it a good squeeze. You can support the foot with the other hand. That's nice to just have that support hand ready. And then we're going to circle the toe the other way. And we're doing about 10 rotations in each direction. So 10 one way and then 10 the other. And once you've done those, we're just going to gently squeeze the toe and then pull and just bring the fingers off. Then get your second toe, again squeezing with your fingers and circles, about 10 rotations here. Breathing. And if you need to change your seated position, if you want a cushion or a chair, then please grab one. And let's do 10 the other way now, circling around. And if you can, look at your toes as you're doing this. Look at your foot. Send some love into your foot. They help you walk every day. And then give it a little squeeze and then pull. And let's go to the middle toe now. Round and round and round. Squeezing the toe with your fingers. Supporting your foot with your other hand is nice. And then taking those circles the other way. Round and round and round. Try to relax your shoulders as you're doing this. And then give it a squeeze and then pull. And then the little toe. Are we up to the little toe? Maybe we're up to the fourth toe. I think the fourth toe I haven't done yet. So circling around and round and round, giving it a nice squeeze. There we go. And then turning the other way. And, don't be shy. Give these toes some really good stimulation. It's so good. There's pressure points, there's meridian points that end in the toes and start in the toes as well. Give it a little squeeze and pull. And then let's do our little toe round and round and round. So we're stimulating the meridians, we're stimulating the energy. We're also waking up the muscles, the joints, ligaments, and nervous system in the feet as well. And then let's circle the toes the other way. It's a great way to keep your feet happy. All right, and then give it a good squeeze and pull. Lovely. All right, so this next one is, I find, very fun. It's best to do without socks on. So if you still have socks on, then maybe rip them off. What we're going to do is we're going to high five our foot. So the opposite hand is coming onto the foot, and then we're going to pull the toes apart and squeeze our fingers in between. And you can help by pushing your toes into the fingers, in between the fingers. And this can take a little while to get used to. I remember the first time I did this, it felt very awkward. But you do want to make sure it's the opposite hand and foot. So if this is your right foot, you're using your left hand. If it's your left foot, you're using your right hand. Okay, and what we want to do is then squeeze the fingers onto the toes. So the toes are getting lovely squeeze with our fingers. We can support the ankle with the other hand, and we start to rotate. So we're squeezing the toes and rotating the foot at the same time. And you're just breathing here, enjoying this stimulation. So squeezing the toes with your fingers, rotating the foot gently, supporting the foot with your other hand, or you can keep it on your thigh if that's more comfortable for you. And then we take it the other way, circling around. Make sure you go both directions. Really get a good grip there. Lovely. And then we place it down. We just do one more really strong squeeze into the toes and then release, and your hand flies out. And we've got this lovely stimulation now through the bottom of the foot. If you want, you can press your thumb around your heel if that feels good for you. And then we can also just grab that ankle and just let the foot be floppy. Floppy, floppy, floppy. Good. And then letting that go. So we've done one leg. We just pause for a moment and just notice how that feels. And it might be very subtle. You might not even notice much at all, but you might get a sense of energy moving through, a blood, warmth. So the blood, that warmth that you feel through your leg is the blood now moving through all the muscles, all the joints, all the way down into the foot. Your foot might feel cool, it might feel warm, and it really depends. Everyone is different, and every time you do this, it might feel different as well. So we're going to repeat that sequence on the other leg. So let's bend the knee up, and we're just tapping with the fist. So again, loose wrists, remember, let the fist just bounce off the leg there. That's it. So we're along here, we're working our stomach meridian at the top and the gallbladder along the middle. Breathing out, let it go, and then we can tip the knee out, and then we can work along the spleen and the liver line on the inside of the thigh. And then maybe deep little underneath, we can get into that liver line. And then maybe the knee comes up and we get under the thigh, and we're working then on the bladder and the lung and large intestine extensions as well. And just going over that again, wherever you feel your body needs that stimulation. Nice loose wrists as you tap away. Lovely. And then we're going to go over to that buttock now, rolling over, exposing the bottom, working into those lovely big glute muscles there. Remembering to breathe, and breathe out is important too. Awesome. All right, and then we're going to roll over, coming onto that buttock a little more, bend the knees up, and then shift your weight so we can now just gently rock along that hip joint. And you might want to do some little circles if you can coordinate it, and maybe go the other way. Nice deep breaths. Lovely. And then coming back to center. All right, so we're here, we've got the lower leg, and we're just going to rub to start with. Again, getting some beautiful friction happening through the lower leg. Lovely. And then making those cups with our hands again, cupping down the leg from the knee down towards the ankle on either side. Beautiful stuff. Good. And then turning the knee out, and then we can tap on the bottom of the foot. So stimulating the sole of the foot there. And like I said, maybe pulling the toes back so we're exposing the sole of the foot a little more. Finding any sore bits, maybe the heel wants a bit of pressure, maybe the arch, maybe the padding of the foot there. Up to you. Lovely stuff. And then we can get those knuckles again, rubbing down the center line of that foot, stimulating those points through there. Lovely stuff. So what we did after that was our toes again. So we're going to start with our big toe, get a nice good grip, and circle, 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 circle. So I'm using my other hand to support, and I'm breathing. And then take that toe the other way, feeling that stimulation in your joints. Now, one toe might be a little sorer than the others. Oh, and this one for me is a little bit uncomfortable, but that's okay. I'm going to squeeze into it and then pull. And then I get my second toe circling round. I hope you're still enjoying this. This can be done a lot faster. I'm just taking it slowly through this practice, and let's take it the other way. But you can go a lot faster. You can skip things out. Just do what feels good for you, what you remember. Give it a good squeeze and then pull, middle toe round and round and round. So I encourage you to practice this a few times, and then the bits that you remember or you enjoy the most, give them a go. Let's take the toe the other way, still squeezing it, round and round and round. And then come back to the video when you feel like you need a refresher and do it all again. And then pull, next toe, round and round and round. Breathing, always breathing, very important. Good. And then taking that toe the other way. Good. And give it a good squeeze and pull. And then the little toe, circle, circle, circle. Round and round and round. And then take it the other way. So we're doing about 10 rotations in each direction. Good. And then give it a good pull and let it go. All right. So like we did on the other side, we're going to high five our foot. So opposite hand to foot. I'm going to pull those toes apart. Try and squeeze my fingers in between. So I'm going to give the toes a good squeeze. I'm supporting the ankle with my hand, or you can keep it resting on the thigh. And then we do the circles going round and round and round. And just notice how your joints are feeling. Today, my ankle's a little bit tender. So I'm just going to go gently here. And you could go faster if that feels good for you. And let's reverse it now, taking it around. So it's about, like I said, that conversation you're having with your body. Keep squeezing the toes as you're rotating that foot, noticing how your body feels. Very important. It's part of our practice. All right, and then giving those toes a really good squeeze and then release. And we can hold the ankle and let the foot be nice and wobbly, just really relaxed. Good. And then we're going to take our legs out for a moment. And I'm actually going to lie down. You can too. And we just take a moment to feel and relax. And just observing the stimulation that we've given our body so far in our doin practice. Nice deep breaths. See if you can relax the shoulders, give them a little wobble if you need to. And then finding some stillness, arms beside you, palms up, legs out long. Maybe give the legs a little wobble too. Breathing fully and deeply. Absorbing what you've just done into your whole body. Feeling the energy you've generated, you've moved and released. And then when you're ready, just start to move the fingers, the hands, the feet, the toes. And let's slide our knees up. And we can roll over to the side for a moment. Taking a breath. And when you're ready, pressing yourself up. You can come back to our kneeling position. And we just take a couple of breaths here, closing down the eyes if you like. Let one hand rest on the other. And if you're sitting in a chair, that's fine. You can just have the feet flat on the floor. Nice deep breaths. So that is one full round of a doin practice.